สวัสดีค่ะ Right here at Site 2022, we would like to introduce to you for our next topic, which is we have many of interesting topics from our local and global experts are going to discuss with many of informative ideas and business for all of our participants. So right now, we would like to come up with the theme of reconnecting the world, which is our event. Today is the second day already that you can explore many of informative and creative sessions from our crews. So up next, we have like the next topic are going to discuss from our experts in the topic of making of Bangkok FoodTech Silicon Valley of the world. So right now, if you talk about the Silicon Valley is a symbol of startup hub, which is many cities and countries try to adopt also adapt its own context with a strong foundation as a growth food country. Will Thailand will be able to make Bangkok as a regional food tech hub or not? So right now we would like to introduce to you our moderator for this session. I would like to lead the CEO and co-founder of BioBuddy Test Bud Lab, also the Future Food Network, Mr. Santi.
ครับสวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ
Hello. Loud and clear? Yes, that is loud and clear. So let me move forward and I'll pass the mic to Kun Santi. Good afternoon. Hello. Thank you.
Agency for having me moderate this session, and obvious the session that is very dear to our mission at the BioBuddy and Test Bud Lab, that we are trying to accelerate food tech and future food with the local stakeholder here in Thailand. And it's very a privilege for me to also, have moderate session with Dr. Chris Oran, Open Innovation Leader of Thai Union Group. I just met Chris last month at ThaiFex and learned a lot of any interesting initiative and thoughts from him, and also what he do now with SpaceX program. Our second guest that also with us today, Max Levu from Forward Fooding from Italy, and he's they are pioneering in global food tech startup and have initiative of the 500 food tech startup report that I think if you are the food tech fan, you probably see this report before. And third, from pre-record, Mr. Semi Hakim, co-founder of Gok Project. Actually, he's also our partner at Test Bud Lab that we, always, discuss of how to build roadmap and different initiative and program across the region from Turkey to Southeast Asia. So in this very discussion topic that I probably be the one who learn from three of our panelists here. Just the very introducing note to all of you who are with us today or watch from live or record, that I think the very key to this, transforming Bangkok into food tech Silicon Valley of the world, it's not that we are just want us to be on the global food tech ecosystem map, but I think it's very key to what we are really searching and looking for a better future, a better future of food system, and food tech is the key solution to it. So we really hope that, transforming Bangkok or transforming different city in Thailand, we can utilize and we can work together as a global community to create world future food solution together. So I think let's start from the very first question. I like to have you introduce about yourself, your company, or your current project and initiative. If anyone like to start, please.
Sure, I can start, Santi. Thank you. So I'm Dr. Chris Arend, Open Innovation Leader at Thai Union. I've been in the food industry for the last 7 years, focusing on innovation in this space. In my position at Thai Union, I run our Space F program, which is Thailand's first dedicated incubator and accelerator program for food tech startups. And in addition, I also work with our corporate venture capital team doing technology scouting and technical due diligence for startups. A little more about Thai Union. We are a global leader in the seafood industry. We are headquartered in Bangkok with a presence in North America, Europe, and Africa. Over 85% of our sales comes from overseas. And this is through the majority of this comes through our core business. Our core business is focusing on ambient seafood, which is our canned tuna products, our frozen and chilled seafood products, such as prawn, ready-to-eat meals, and frozen fish, and then also our pet care division, making pet food. We also have our value-enhancing businesses, such as marine ingredients, focusing on production of high-purity tuna oil, our supplements division with our brand Zavita, and then also our alternative proteins division rounds out the core business or the businesses we have with our OMG plant-based meats products. So Thai Union strongly believes that supporting the growth of the local food tech ecosystem is vital and will raise up the industry as a whole. So I'm looking forward to our discussions today on how we can further enhance the Thai food tech ecosystem and make it recognized on the world stage. Santi?
Thank you, Chris. Let's move to Matt, please.
Hi, Santi. Hi, hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. So my name is Max Leveau. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Forward Fooding. Forward Fooding, as an organization, we've been around for a bit more than 6 years now, and we are a global community and network enabler around the world of agri-food tech. Our organization is registered in the UK, and our operations split across London, Barcelona, and Rome in Italy, where I'm based myself. But effectively, we operate globally. What we do is our main mission, let's say, is to enable connections between agri-food tech startups and other players of the ecosystem, such as investors, corporations, accelerators, and other ecosystem enablers in order to accelerate innovation. How we do it, concretely speaking, our activities, they are mainly split around 3 core pillars. The first one, and the majority of our work, is actually to do consulting and scouting for corporate clients of the food industry. So we work with the open innovation and R&D teams of the likes of Cargill, General Mills, Nestle, Danone, and other big players of the sector to help them understand what are the different trends, market dynamics, emergent technologies in the world of agri-food tech. So we're looking at a very holistic view. So from farm to fork, from ag tech and precision agriculture to side streams optimizations, alternative protein, food delivery, supply chain monitoring, everything from farm to fork. And our role is to have this organization identify which areas they should focus their open innovation efforts or investment efforts on, and then operate as a scouting arm. So basically, once we have a brief from our clients, to scout our global network of startups to find the right partners for them to engage with, whether it is for investments, but also for pilots, for commercial partnerships, or whatever they actually need to work out. So that's the first bit that we do for corporate organizations of the food and drinks industry, but also with investors and corporate venture capital. Then the second part of our business is around data. So we have developed this FoodTech Data Navigator platform, which is a tool where we aggregate the startup ecosystem at global scale. So we have more than 7,500 companies mapped on this platform, but also all the other players around them. So who are the investors and CVCs and accelerators that are navigating around these startups. And this platform allows us to basically do our consulting work in the sense that we extract very precise data on funding activity, on different technologies, on what's happening in the sectors in terms of new partnerships, news, M&A activity, etc. And this is what we use for reports, and our clients pay also a monthly subscription to access our database. And then the third bit of what we do, which is why we define ourselves more as a platform, as a collaborative platform and network enablers, is everything we do to help the startup community and give visibility to the food tech sector as a whole. First off is this FoodTech 500 competition, which is something we've been running for the past 3 years now. And we've been receiving applications from more than 5,000 companies globally, so agri-food tech startups, that apply to be featured in that ranking. So that ranking's ambition is to be building basically the Fortune 500 of food tech and give visibilities to startups that are reshaping our food system and at different stages of the supply chain. So we have this ranking that is based on sustainability criteria, on business size criteria, and other metrics. It's free for companies to apply. Then we select 500 companies out of, like, for example, 2,200 plus applications that we received last year. And then in the back of that ranking, when we publish it, we do reports and webinars and events to try to give as much visibility as possible to these companies and raise awareness about the sector. And the last bit that we have always in this third pillar is these food innovation hubs that we've built in London, Barcelona, and Milan since a few months ago, where part of our team is based alongside a number of food tech startups inside the same co-working space. We do organize quarterly events to talk about food tech on very different topics, and where we bring together startups, corporates, and investors in the same room. And we do also mentor the companies that are part of our hub and try to basically support them with our network as well, bridging connections with our clients or with other organizations. So this is it in a very big nutshell. The consulting side, data, and the community building, let's say.
Awesome. Thank you. Can we move to Semi, please?
Hi and good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here. I would like to, first of all, start with saying thank you for NIA and also, of course, to Santi from Tastebud Lab for the invitation. Happy to be here. And let me just do a quick introduction on who I am and also what we do. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Truck Project. We are initially a agri-food management consulting company that works together with corporates, governmental organizations, and investment funds mainly in the emerging markets. We are based in Istanbul, Turkey, with our headquarters in, and we are actively working within MENA, former Soviet Union region, Asia Pacific, and Sub-Saharan African region. We are quite active within the emerging markets, and our goal is always empower the startups who are developing solutions on food security, food safety, and also the climate change. So we work within these three challenges, and we only work together with food, agriculture, water, and tad bit in energy sector to work together with the startups and empower them to build their products and services and help them grow and help them scale and become international and also global. Because as we all experience, all of these issues within the food security, food safety, and the climate change are global. Therefore, we need startups, we need entrepreneurs, we need initiative takers and game changers to tackle these issues and build new solutions for our future food systems. So that being said, I would like to talk about.
Okay, so I think now the audience start to get to know what you guys are doing. So I jump right into the second questions, which is what are the strengths and weaknesses of Thailand as a food tech hub? I mean, in just in your perspective, and I think this question probably would be great if we can start from Chris, if you are ready, and Max, just your observation and your view. Thank you.
Thank you, Santi. So I think, what I see as Thailand's strengths are, from our tangible side, we have a very diverse group of food ingredients available for the food tech startups and companies. We also have a good set of OEM manufacturing capabilities here in Thailand. So there's the opportunity to take your product from the kitchen and scale it up. And in addition, we are centrally located in Southeast Asia. So we act as a great hub for connecting across with China to Singapore throughout the region. We can connect with all the regional countries. On the intangible side, Thailand has a very good reputation of producing high quality and safe food products. Japanese look at our fruits as some of the top quality products coming into the country. And this has been recognized by multinationals where they've established their production facilities for the region in Thailand, such as PepsiCo, Nestle, Rich Products, Danone, and the list goes on. And also, on top of that, we can't forget that Thailand has a very rich culture of food. Our society is oriented around food consumption. You'll always see new food products coming out on the market, being sold on the street. So it's a very good dynamic place to actually try out products. And we've also seen this through the valuations of cell-cultured meat. If you look at that, Southeast Asia and Thailand particularly are willing to try cell-cultured meat. They may not be able to purchase it all the time, but they're willing to try it compared to more of the Western cultures that might be more hesitant on trying that based on the previous knowledge. So from the weaknesses side, I'd say one of the biggest challenges around here is our famous regulatory system. It's known to be very tough in getting new products into the market, which is great for protecting the consumer, but for adopting new technologies, that can be a challenge because it makes companies question if they establish themselves here, if they can actually produce in the long term. And this is something I think Thailand has recognized and is working on changing, but that will take time.
Wow. Thank you. Very exciting. Yeah, Max, please.
Yeah, I can try to build up on that. As I explained before, I'm not an expert in the Thai food system or ecosystem. I'll try to make a comparison with what's happening basically in the rest of the world. I think, as Chris mentioned, like a lot of the ingredients are already there in the sense that Thailand produces a lot of food, transforms a lot of food, has basically a base of consumers that are willing to try new foods, novel foods, and are receptive to change. So now, if we look at how to make a strong ecosystem, because that's what's needed, right? To build a food tech startup ecosystem. If we think of food tech at a global scale, there are a number of key hubs globally right now out there. So Silicon Valley, of course, is one of them. In Europe, like the Netherlands, London are probably like the top two. Then there's Israel. Sorry. And if we look at Asia, of course, Singapore. And then what I like the secret sauce. If we look at Singapore as an example, and that's applicable to other regions. Sorry, I still have this cough post-COVID. I need to drink a lot of water while speaking. If we look at Singapore as a key ingredient, there are a few things that they have in common with Thailand. So first off, I would say the consumer base. And how receptive people are to change to novel foods, to embrace alternative protein. I think that's one key characteristic. But then further down, before the consumers, I think I would articulate around three main elements that Chris already touched on it for some of them. But what makes Singapore such a strong food tech ecosystem, first off, is on the R&D side and the research side of things. So you see the government is very involved and universities are very involved and have a number of incentives and initiatives to basically foster really innovation from the lab, from the bottom up, basically, which drives, strong IP protections. They have a favorable regulation, especially when it comes to alternative protein. It's the only country in the world where cultured meat is actually used a lot for consumption right now, and then that can leverage a very strong talent base. So basically, making sure you build up companies from the ground up, right? Then I think the further up the supply chain, it's very important to have the backing from the private sector and food and beverage corporate organizations when it comes to like open innovation and getting involved in the sector. So that's what we see in Singapore, for example. If we talk of companies like even foreign companies, likes of ADM, Rockets that have been building like research centers or manufacturing facilities for alternative protein. So I think the participation, and that's the case of Thai Union Group, is being very active on that front, of course. So that's one ingredient that Thailand already has in for most of it, but that's what we see in Singapore, for example, as an ecosystem. So how big food and beverage corporates are getting involved in the sector and embracing open innovation. And the last piece is access to markets, which is the case of Thailand already. Where basically, as you are like Singapore is located in a place where they have access to a lot of like local markets to expand productions, and then there's a cultural side of things when it comes to consumers that were already mentioned already. So this would be like the let's say the secret sauce to first off like create companies from the bottom up, from the ground up. And then there's let's say a virtuous cycle that comes into place, right? The moment you have the regulation, infrastructure, the research in place, and the private sector getting involved, this is where more and more companies, more and more startups are emerging, and more investors are coming in, and this is how you grow an ecosystem, basically.
Awesome. I just received the note that we kind of short in terms of time, so I just gonna like ask you very precise question, like question number 4 and number 5 all together. That like before driving, like Thailand as an ecosystem, with this recent pandemic situation, like inflation and wars, financial market crash, right? How should like an ecosystem should adapt into this kind of uncertain future, right? And like food security and other stuff. And also, what is your advice to like government or like stakeholder, like Max just touched a little bit on that, in terms of like really like have this game changing and transform Bangkok into one of the players to support this kind of future food system or food tech ecosystem in the future. So I'm not sure, like Max, you like to start or sip the water first, or I can.
Yeah, sure. I can start. I think Chris probably has like more insights on like how his organization would be reacting to it. For me, it's more like a comment on the global scale, right? First it was COVID, now the war in Ukraine is generating like we are really on the edge of a global food crisis, as you mentioned, especially around wheat. But I think it's going to impact the whole food system. And I think that first the COVID and then this kind of like sent everyone back to the drawing board, right? In terms of like, okay, we're already investing, FoodTech is growing as a sector, but now we need to rebuild completely our food system from the ground up to make it resilient to this kind of events, to this kind of crisis, right? So I don't see it like as a precise initiative, but I think it shed even more light on FoodTech and on what we need to do to make our food system more sustainable. So I think it's a matter of like keeping pushing and taking the right initiatives, right, and making sure that governments and big corporations are involved.
And probably we're looking forward to see like new different subcategory that you have mentioned that probably help solve be more resilient and more sustainable.
Yeah, and I think also it's a matter of like focusing on the right thing when we talk about food tech. I like to think that I like to take the example of like instant delivery as the wrong example to invest in. Like my point is like, do we actually need to get our groceries in 15 minutes? Probably not. There's a lot of like a massive amount of investment. Still, like e-groceries, for example, is like the most invested sector in food tech in 2021. Mostly driven by the mega rounds of the likes of Gorillas and Getir and a few others. Where what we could question is like, what's the actual impact of these solutions on the food system, right? versus like there are a number of other subsectors. So alternative protein is one of them. And again, in alternative protein, there are a few things to be careful of because there's as much space for plant-based meat and dairy alternatives. The sector is becoming very competitive. So there will be it's going to be more and more difficult for companies to enter the market. So now the race is like, okay, how do we make better products to drive more adoption from consumers, right? And it's all about taste, it's all about texture, it's all about nutrition value, and of course price parity. So this is where we see that alternative products are becoming hybrids, in the sense that companies might leverage different technologies such as fermentation, like you mentioned, fungi fermentation in mycelium to alter like the protein content, or to create like fat alternatives that are more sustainable, to give a better taste to products, etc. That's going to make drive more adoption. That has some consequences on how we should invest in the sector, in the sense that more and more capital will be driven towards like fermentation technologies, cellular agriculture technologies, for companies that are developing specific ingredients or specific like technology, kind of like enabling technologies for alternative proteins to scale production, but to make also better products and drive more adoption from consumers. This is one key angle. And then if we look at FoodTech in an holistic view, there's lots of like different sectors that we're not touching on, such as not enough touching on, I would say, like upcycling technology. So how do we upcycle agricultural waste or food side streams from the food industry, turn that into fertilizer, turn that into animal feed, for example, because animal farming is not going to disappear from today to tomorrow. It's going to take some time. How do we remove packaging completely from the food industry, plastic packaging, of course? How do we make crops more resilient to climate change? How do we track and make the supply chain more efficient? How do we shorten it? So there's a very vast range of technologies and solutions out there that we need to look at as well. So not just focusing on delivery and alternative protein. So that's what we're trying to do with our work, really, is to shine a light as well on what's out there.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Chris, please.
Well, to add on to Max's points, I think Thailand is perfectly positioned to leverage our natural resources, our ingredients we have, particularly around, if we look at the alternative protein space, there isn't a need to rely on soy proteins or pea proteins. We have those resources here in Thailand that we can further create value from, such as mushrooms, jackfruit, mung bean proteins, konjac. You're seeing these already used in Western alternative protein products, and we are seeing startups here focusing on that. So we can mitigate these price increases that we're going to see from the war and the food scarcity issues by utilizing what we have at home. We can also take our commodities and add more tech to them, and then create higher value products that can be utilized to improve the food system here. And also on the point about fermentation, Thailand is a very strong fermentation capacity here. I mean, we are one of the largest ethanol producers in Asia. So we have the capacity in country to also utilize all of the agricultural biomass and turn it into higher value compounds, and so we don't have to rely on the foreign market necessarily for this. So we can mitigate a lot of these price fluctuations. And then also these fermentation technologies can be used to produce single cell proteins to put into animal feed and reduce those costs as well. So there's a lot of opportunity there. I'd also say we need to leverage our regional location and not have to focus on startups. Often focus on how we can move into the European market, the North American market, but we have a very desirable market here in the region. Most those countries look at how can they get into China, how can they get into Indonesia. We have great relationships with them, trade corridors, free trade agreements. So there's a perfect opportunity there for us to work regionally, even though we tend to overlook that. We may not focus on that, looking at the bigger picture or bigger countries, whereas we have such a great population we can tap into here. From a government side, I guess one of the ones I would recommend is we see pretty often here in Thailand, the trade commissions of each embassy knocking on the corporate's doors and coming to us and telling us, okay, we have these startups from our country that do this, this, and this. Are you interested in speaking with them? I'd like to see the more and more of the Thai Trade Commission going out and promoting the Thai startups, encouraging networking with the regional corporates such in Europe or Indonesia or Singapore. How do we really promote Thai startups abroad? And I think that's a great opportunity. We need to look at the model that we're seeing being done here in Bangkok by the foreign embassies here. So I think that's one of the key aspects, is to leverage what we have and promote it.
Awesome. So I think you mentioned at the beginning like regulation, and we are kind of under promote. So I think with all of these 2 points together, probably great. If we still have time, could you please share the answer from Semi?
So definitely, I think the building an ecosystem is quite crucial, and in a way that, as we're all sort of experiencing a recession globally, and with the rising prices of food and inflation, and plus the world. I mean, we're not I would say in a great times, I would say, but it's always great times, of course, for if you're an entrepreneur and a startup. But that being said, this is not as a thriving that would be expected. But that being said, as we are after the post-pandemic period. But that being said, I think for agri-food startups, the situation is quite different, because as now with the war going on in Ukraine and the other issues with inflation and food crisis, is that the world needs agri-food entrepreneurs more than ever. The world needs the initiative takers, the game changers within the agri-food innovation scene more than ever, to be able to implement their technologies and implement their solutions directly into the field on food production and urban production and logistics and traceability, on food safety, food security. All of these matters. This is important now to implement today for a future food system that would still feed us and the next generations as well. So even if we're experiencing this sort of like a survival global ecosystem and the markets, even if we're going through these tough times, I believe agri-food entrepreneurs has a different opportunity on this, and being able to scale with these challenges existing globally. So any of these solutions that actually develop, no matter where they are, they can still apply and implement to the places that are these issues existing anywhere in the world, because food security is a global issue now, and solutions to be built on these, it's definitely global. So that's why the perspective that we need, it's always has to be global. So therefore, even if we're having through these times, I think for startups to go ahead and work on scaling and work on building and work on implementing, is a great time to do that. So I'm a big believer on these agri-food innovation startups, and I think that this is, I would say, the silver lining of this period in a way. And the last topic is that to talk about how would be the role of the governmental organizations of the supporting the food tech innovations and building the Bangkok into a food tech Silicon Valley, is that it's definitely the helping change, the transforming of these, helping and building an ecosystem to help out the startups and attracting them and being able to understanding what kind of opportunities that they can have. So what I mean by that is definitely, if you're a startup and looking into opportunities in ASEAN, you should definitely come to Thailand and test out their product, and this is how you do it. So planning and helping out, providing opportunities is, I believe, definitely crucial. The second is that definitely for having similar organizations, as I mentioned, like accelerator programs within the different regions of the world, such as ourselves and the other amazing organizations that are existing across the globe would be coming to, to Thailand and implementing these innovation strategies that they have, and also the startups within their cohorts and portfolios, and plus the VCs who are actively globally, working on implementing, investing food security issues. I think to understand their, opportunities, it would be great to guiding these organizations to come to Thailand, come to Bangkok, and being part of the change, the transformation that is happening, and aiming to happen as well. So therefore, the governmental organizations has a key part and great part on building these infrastructures for helping out the private sector organizations to coming in, and also the new startups coming out with the incentives that they can provide. This could be on tech development, this could be on patent applications, and this could be similarly the grant programs, etc. So these are quite crucial, but creating a food tech valley in Bangkok would definitely need a creation of a gateway to the region for food tech startups, and understanding they can come, startups, ecosystem players, investors, and all the other organizations. So facilitating that period, facilitating and for building opportunities for these organizations is definitely a key part for governmental organizations. And I think, NIA and also the similar other organizations are doing, a lot. And I think that's also quite impact on these, and, such as events like these are also quite crucial. So therefore, I think they, governmental organizations has a major role in this, and I believe it's always the collective work that creates the change. So therefore, governmental organizations and private sector and investors and startup organizations and all these ecosystem players coming in would create the actual impact that would turn the Bangkok into a food tech Silicon Valley. So that would be my points.
Okay, so I think we come up to the very last questions that I mean now, to the audience now, you have it right, the ideas of making Bangkok as Silicon Valley of food tech. But it's not only that, but we need to really oversee and overlook the transition and what we need in terms of food tech solution of the world. And in terms of Max and Chris mentioning, we all need all the key stakeholder and everything in place, like market access, investment, and other support, regulation and other infrastructure. And also Chris have very good adding that we should be more exposed and we should work together. And we have seen other different countries that can work as alliance, and our target market to be a partnership in terms of ecosystem. I think in last minute. So if I think we are run out of time. I just received a note. So please following up with Max, forward putting. You can see them from online, Instagram, and the website, and 500 food tech startup that will be released this year again. And Chris, Thai Union Group, and also SpaceF Food Hybrid Incubation and Acceleration Programs. So thank you all, and sorry for the time and for the delay. And looking forward for the next session that we can be more deep dive into of the topic. ขอบคุณครับ สวัสดีครับ
Thank you very much.
สวัสดีครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ Thank you very much once again for the fantastic session from our experts. So right now we would like to continue with the next topic. นะเดี๋ยวลำดับถัดไปนะคะเราก็จะได้
So in the next sessions would be another very interesting topic. So please stay tuned and stay with us for the next topic from the Metaverse Forum. It's going to be very, very interesting.